Hello, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, sir. Al Hassan Abdul Bakar. You're welcome. It's great to have you, sir. Chukwuemeka and Noze. Good morning to you. Welcome, sir. It's great to have you join us. I'm going to spend the next few minutes waiting for more people to join. I like when we have a sizable number of people. So we start together. It reduces the lag and the back and forth, right? So we're going to wait like 3 minutes. While we're waiting, if you're already here, I'd like you to uh, use the chat box to, uh, okay, I can see your name. You could just tell me where you're joining from. And we can also confirm that the audio is solid, loud and clear. You can hear me very well. Mr. Brown, thank you very much, sir. You are welcome. Thank you for the confirmation, sir. Okay, right here in the city of Ibadan, Chukwuemeka and Nonse. Thank you very much. You're welcome. It's good to have you. Frederick is joining from Akwa Ibom. Thank you very much, sir. It's great to have you. You're welcome. All right, about 2 more minutes and then we get started. So if you're yet to put something in the chat box, you can go ahead to do that now. I can see most of our names from the profile. So you could just tell me your name and where you're joining from. We have less than 2 minutes and then we get started. Yeah, only Yide Akeem, no screen yet. Where are you joining from? Oluyide Akeem. Alaska stays from Imo State. Welcome, sir. Al Hassan from Abuja. Welcome, sir. It's great to have you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to make it here today on this Tuesday's edition of our morning market review. You're most welcome, sir. Felix, I am good morning to you, sir. Issa Sadiq, are you here? I haven't heard from you in a while. Issa Sadiq from Ilorin. Good morning to you, sir. You're welcome. All right. I believe we can now get started, right? Okay. Bola Daya is also from Ilorin. Okay. That's great to know. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Um, I'm going to put up my screen in a second. That's forexfactory.com, the preferred economic calendar. So we can see what we have for today in terms of the spirit behind the chart. Welcome, sir. Okay, so I believe we can see my screen now. Forexfactory.com. As I said, uh, it's the preferred economic calendar. It's really detailed and comprehensive. All right, so welcome, sir. Thanks for the confirmation. Showing Adeleke. All right. So good morning once again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ladies. Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, traders as well. Okay. With this, we get started on today's edition of the morning market review. Today being the 10th day of February 2026, is still the year, right? If you're just joining us for the very first time, it's great to have you. You're most welcome. I promise you, uh, it's a wonderful session on a daily basis. So every day between the hours of 8 to 9, we bring different analysts so you can have a wide perspective of what's going on in the market. And then it's our belief that having been introduced to different analyses, different strategies on a daily basis, eventually you're able to come up with a strategy that is convenient for you. That, oh, fantastic! It's great to know. Denichi, you're welcome. It's always a wonderful session here. Uh, 8 to 9 on a daily basis, as I said. All right. So it's an opportunity to get to understand different and see different analyses from different analyst perspectives, so that in the long run, it is expected that you'll be able to come up with your own strategy from watching different analyses on a daily basis, stay with what works for you. At the end of the day, the goal is to make profits, all right? So as long as it makes profit, of course, it makes sense, okay? So also as a quick reminder, those of us who have always been here, on this program every day, as I said, we get to look at what's going on in the markets in terms of fundamental and the technical setups that we have. All right. We also do this with the hope that we'll be able to pick one or two entries from this session, trade ideas as well, that we can watch for today and even for the rest of the week. All right. And I think it was last week I was telling us that if you've been with us in this program for some time now, I sincerely want to believe you already have a great winning strategy that gives you an edge over the market. At the end of the day, it's always about the edge, right? It's always about the edge, right? Okay, so without further ado, we're going to get right to it. And usually we start with the majors that sees the pairs with USD as one of the currencies. All right. And then from there, we start looking at other pairs that we're interested in as well. All we're trying to do is to get their key important levels, all right, and then the potential trade setups as a result of the levels that we have, all right. And we do that for, of course, the focus is especially on today. Okay. So before we get on to technicals, we have this right here for today, Tuesday, February 10th, 2:30 p.m. We have an high impact news for USD. Okay, what is this all about? We have core retail sales month slash month, and then retail sales month slash month as well. Okay, of course, all eyes will be on this for today. And then tomorrow, okay, I'm not going to talk about tomorrow, but of course, we have the non-farm employment change, which is also uh, quite significant. All right. So for today, what is the core retail sales and retail sales all about? Of course, it's an high impact news as indicated with the red envelope, and then the strong indicator of economic health. And basically, it's used to gauge whether the economy is contracting or expanding as it tracks the monthly increase or decrease in US consumer spending, especially in the retail categories. All right. And of course, since consumer spending is the largest component of the US economy, of course, markets watch this data closely as they may also influence important metrics like the GDP growth, uh, expectations around inflation, and even the Federal Reserve policy. This sometimes guides their policy to know how to drive the economy. Okay, so all of these make these important indicators of the overall health of the economy. All right, so we're going to get data for that at 2:30 p.m. Right, so strong retail sales mean that there is economic strength and potentially that could lead to higher interest rates, while weak retail sales, on the other hand, means economic slowdown and potentially we may start expecting rate cuts. So we're very much interested in that, what the final figure is going to be. All right, the actual, that's what we're interested in. And of course, for this data, actual greater than forecast is good for dollar. All right, so a reading that's stronger than forecast is generally supportive, right? When it's supportive, it's going to be bullish for USD. All right, so actual here greater than forecast will be good for the dollar. And we can expect to see the strength in the dollar if that is the case. And if it comes out lower, then we can expect some weakness for the dollar. That's in terms of fundamentals. Now we're going to uh, head over to the trading platform to see what that means for technicals, see what it means for when it comes to the technical setups that we have. Just a second while I do that. We'll stop this. Then we can have index. Okay, it's up now. Right, so we have the USD index. We have the USD index. Of course, this is where I like to start from so that you can understand the direction of the dollar. You already know this, especially for those of us who have been with us for quite some time. Uh, this asset, USD index, is our barometer, all right, for the rest of the forex market, all right? Because I believe to a very large extent, if we can understand direction here, we can pretty much navigate the rest of the forex market. So things become a lot easier once we understand what is happening with the USD. Okay, it's back up now. So the USD index measures the value of the dollar against six major currencies. All right, the euro, the Japanese yen, the British pound, the Canadian dollar, the Switzerland franc. So that's why this is quite important for me. All right. So, and that's where we start. Okay. Now, here, this is what it looks like on the weekly time frame. Okay. This is what it looks like on the weekly time frame. Now, don't forget, I'm going to mention this very quickly, especially uh, because of those that are joining for the very first time. As a day trader or as a scalper or intraday trader, as the case may be, we really do not pay much attention to the weekly or the monthly time frame. And simple reason is because those time frames, I believe, they are so far out that they really don't have much relevance to us as day traders. All right, the weekly and the monthly time frame. Okay, so usually we stay with the uh, daily or the 4 hours time frame, and then we look for entry opportunity on a much lower time frame. For me, preferably the 15 minutes time frame. All right. Uh, I may have to switch this network just a second. Keeps going. Okay, it's good now. So let's go back to uh, trading platform. All right. So, of course, you heard what I said about the weekly time frame, right? And then, like I said, of course, we can use those time frames to get some perspectives of what's going on in the markets, all right? And that's basically how I use those two time frames, the weekly or the monthly. Now, for the monthly first, before we switch to weekly, for the monthly first, uh, this is quite interesting because since sometime in 2011, even as far back as 2008, uh, these uh, trend line support here, of course, supported price, a few pips away right here too. And here again, supported price, even created a double bottom that gave rise to that push all the way to the trend line resistance. Okay, and right now we have price below that trend line support. Okay, on the monthly time frame, right? And then on the weekly time frame now, we see how this is mostly a sideways market. Okay, this has been consistently ranging between 100 resistance and 96 support. All the while, it's been above 100. Okay, and eventually we got that break below 100 right here, and then all the way to 96, back to 100, back to 96, back to 100, and then back to 96 yet again. So I believe I have reasons based on this pattern or based on this structure that we're now going to get another push all the way to 100. All right. Now, that's the expectation. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Okay. That's why, as much as possible, we trade what we see. Okay. Now, let's take that to the daily time frame. Let's take that to the daily time frame. So recently, we got another dip below 96. Okay. Remember, I said that it's been trading between 96 to 100, back to 96, back to 100, and back to 96. So here we got this dip below 96 and then pushed higher as well. Now, the last time this dipped below 96 was back here in September of 2025. All right, September of 2025, because this dip below 96. And what happened next? Price pushed all the way to 100. And in January, we got yet another dip below 96. And now we got this push to 97.7, give us the reversal pattern, and then all the way to the downside. So what happens next from here? Now, remember I said the daily time frame is our anchor chart. The analysis is carried out here, and then we go to a much lower one for a more precise entry opportunity. All right. So that's the thing that we're going to do here. So on the daily time frame, we've seen this low, we see this high, and then a pullback, which is pretty much expected as a result of all these imbalances that we left behind. Okay. So what happens next, as I said, of course, my preferred tool for that is the field retracement tool. So I'm going to take it from that low right here to the high, the most recent one. Okay. And with that, I'll be able to highlight the 50% level and the 61.8% level, which are strong retracement levels. Okay, so now I'm going to take out the field, right, so it doesn't confuse me. Okay, so moving forward for the dollar index, my expectation is that we still get some dip into this area, okay, which represents the 50% and the 61.8% field level. All right, but first, of course, sellers have to push price below the 50% level, okay, in order for it to come into this area. That's the expectation on the daily time frame, okay? So as I said, this currently, the price level at 96.6 is acting as support for price. And then if we, and don't forget, this is also the 50% fib level. All right, this is also the 50% fib level. So if we continue to see bullish patterns around that 50% level, then we have reasons to believe that this is going to continue to push to the upside from the current level. However, the break below of 6.6 will mean that we're going to get a deeper retracement, stay into the 61.8 area. Okay, I'm going to get that. Yeah, so that's what I did. And then it gave me the 50% level and the 61.8% retracement level. All right. And I've already highlighted these 2 points with these horizontal lines. All right. Okay. So it break below the 50% level, then I'll be looking towards the 61.8% level for the full retracement and a potential push to the upside. All right. Again, I was also quick to add the fact that if we start seeing some bullish reversal patterns from this 50% level, then it will mean that we're gearing up for the next leg higher. Okay, the next leg higher. So that's the expectation I have for the USD index. And of course, for me right now, sitting around the support area, highlighted with the 50% fib level, okay, which is also very significant. So we may just continue to see a push to the upside from this level. All right. So that's the expectation I have for the dollar index. Now, for me, I'm not going to trade the dollar index directly. As I said, I'm going to use this as a barometer to judge the rest of the forex market. All right. That's the USD index. That's the USD index. Okay. So moving forward, yeah, I didn't need to, you can see it now. So let's look at Euro USD now and some of the other major pairs. We'll start with the Euro USD, Euro dollar. Okay, so the Euro USD is essentially the inverse, all right, of the dollar index, okay, which means that they move in opposite direction, okay. So while the dollar index is sitting at a support around like 6.6 for the for USD now, we have it at this resistance at 1.19, okay, which is also very significant. If you look back at how 1.19 impacted price in the past, you would understand why that level is quite significant. This is the closest one right here. We saw this push above 1.19. That higher price was quickly rejected, and that's gave rise to this aggressive sell at that time. Okay. Currently, we see yet another push above 1.19, and then it's beginning to close back below 1.19. And that will be significant in the uh, coming days. Okay. So if eventually we see a close back below 1.19 right here, all right, for Euro USD, then uh, it will mean that that's the end of the pullback, and then we'll now continue to see a push to the downside. Okay, but to a very large extent, this is dependent on what we see on the USA index moving forward. And also, don't forget, we have that news at 2:30 p.m., which is also expected to impact this price right there. So let's take this to 10 minutes to see if we see any opportunities. Okay, so this is our 1.19 reference, all right, on Euro USD. Currently, it's below the 50-period moving average, and then we have support right here. Okay, so on this 15 minutes time frame, I need to see a close below 1.19 in order for this to become interesting to short. Okay, I need to see a close below 1.19 on this 15 minutes time frame. Now, 15 minutes time frame is to give us a much more precise entry. All right, a much more precise entry with a very decent risk reward ratio. Okay, so on this 15 minutes time frame, as I said for Euro USD, it will be interesting to see a break and a close below 1.19. Okay, so that 1.19 level can play to resistance, and then start to look for opportunities to sell below 1.19. And in that case, I'll be selling at resistance. Okay. So that's the expectation for Euro USD at that time. That's exactly how I'm going to be trading this. Okay. Moving on to pounds USD. Moving on to pounds USD. Um, again, starting with the daily time frame, you see that this is similar to what we saw for Euro USD. Okay. We saw this aggressive sell, this pullback, and now we see uh, this bearish candle beginning to form, right? Now, this is the daily time frame, but we don't have to wait all day, right, to make a decision. And that's why we head over to the 15 minutes time frame to see what we can do uh, immediately. Okay. So while 1.19 is a resistance for the global state. We're looking at 1.367 for pounds USD. Again, this is also below the 50-period moving average as well, which in itself signifies a weakness. All right. So for pounds USD, the same thing. I'm going to be waiting for a break and close below 1.367. So that level automatically flips to resistance, and then I take myself below 1.367. And what would invalidate this would be a close back above 1.367. Okay, close back above 1.367. So currently, I'll see this break below 1.367, and then we'll be waiting for that to close below 1.367. As soon as we have that, for some traders, it's enough confirmation to go in for a sell. For me, I like to wait for a follow-through candle. What does that mean? I see a break below 1.367 here, for instance. I'm going to be waiting for the next candle to also be bearish, and that would be the trigger to short pounds USD. All right, that would be the trigger to short pounds USD on the 15 minutes time frame, of course. All right, so moving on to USD JPY. If you have questions based on the assets that I've talked on so far, USD index, Euro USD, and pounds USD, of course, you can drop them in the chat box as we go along. And then at intervals, I'll be checking them out so that we can address them and we all can be on the same page. Okay, so for USD JPY, for USD JPY as well, we also have this ascending channel right here. Price here recently tested the trend line support back here, and then we got that push to the upside, and now we'll see some sell-off right there. Okay, so what happens next? What happens next? Okay, currently it's below the 50-period moving average. Okay, and then it is also sitting on this support at 155.5. All right, also sitting on this support level at 155.5. Okay, USD JPY. All right, now for USD JPY, USD here is the base currency. Okay, so to a large extent, the movement of the USD index from the current level will also impact where this goes next. Don't forget, we highlighted the 96.6 level support for USD index. All right. So if we see buyers step in at that 96.6 support level and they continue to push price to the upside, then we can expect this to also push higher from the current level because USD here is the base currency. All right. So let's see what it looks like on 15 minutes. Okay, so on 15 minutes time frame, we have eyes on 155.5, and currently we're seeing a break above that. Okay, we're seeing a break above 155.5. So if that remains, that is this continues to push above 155.5 and it stands as support. All right, that is buyers push price above 155.5, and this level automatically flips to support, and we see a sustained push above 155.5. Then we have confidence that this continues to push higher for USD JPY. All right. On the other hand, should we get some bearish reversal patterns from 155.5, then that would mean that we would get some push to the downside. All right. See how this level back here also supported price. All right. And eventually we got that break below 155.5 right here. So this level automatically flips to resistance. So as it is right now, prices are around the resistance area. So moving forward, we're interested in what happens here. Okay, so price break above 155.5, the level automatically flips to support, and then we can expect more push to the upside. And don't forget, to a large extent, as I said, this is also dependent on what we see for USD index from the current level. All right, USD JPY. Imo Frederick says best entry for USD and pound USD. Yeah, for those two pairs, the best entry would be, except you're an aggressive trader, the best entry would be to wait for a break below 1.19 support, all right? So for a break below 1.19 support, and then take sales below that. because once it breaks below 1.19, that level automatically flips to resistance, and then it means that we'll be taking our sell at resistance. Currently, it is at support. Okay, so if that support holds, then we may see a rise back to this trend line resistance. If this support holds, okay, we see it push back to the trend line resistance. And whatever happens there will determine what we'll do next. The same thing for pound USD, 1.367 or Euro USD is 1.19. Okay, so that's what we're waiting to do here. Okay, let's see that for USD JPY. I'm not sure what time frame you're looking at. Is it Frederick? No, it's Alaska. I'm not sure what time frame you're looking at. But as I said, it closed below 155.5 again, right? It closed below 155.5 here, which suggests that we still have more push to the downside. But if if buyers are able to step in at this support, then we have some confirmations, we have some reversal patterns, okay? Then from 155.5, we can see some push to the upside. So to a very large extent, we need to see how price reacts to 155.5 eventually. Okay, I believe Alaska was looking at this 15 minutes time frame. Okay, so that's for USD JPY. That's for USD JPY. Moving on to AUD USD. AUD USD. Again on the daily time frame. Now for AUD USD, this here is a significant resistance for me, 0.71. And why is that? If you look back, you see multiple attempts to break above or below that level. All right, the most recent ones being these 2 points. Okay, back in 2022, price broke above 0.71, but quickly closed back below it, and that gave rise to this aggressive push to the downside. Again, we saw a repeat in 2023. All right, again pushed all the way to the downside, and now price is beginning to push away from 0.71. All right, from 0.71. Okay, so of course we need more confirmations. We need more confirmations. So let's see what it looks like on 15 minutes. All right, so we're beginning to see push to the downside, retracement, a lower low, some shallow retracement right here as well. And then what happens next? What happens next? So on this 15 minutes time frame for AUD USD, number one, the way this becomes interesting for me and attractive for a short would be a break below this level right here. Okay, would be a break below this level right here, or a push to the previous low back here. All right. Right. So on this 15 minutes time frame, the way this becomes interesting for a short would be number one. I see price take out this support right here, and then this automatically flips to resistance, and then I'm looking for shorts below 0.70637 resistance. Or on the other hand, we push back to 0.70762, which was the last low that was broken and gave rise to this lower low. All right. So it started from here. I guess you joined a little bit late. We started from there, as is our usual practice. Yeah, so from that high, remember I touched on 0.71. So from that high, price pushed all the way to this low. We got this pullback, and then it created a lower low right here. So this low here, right, this low here is responsible for this lower high. And then that's the low that was broken and gave rise to this lower low as well. Okay, so currently this level here is our resistance, and this level here is our support. Okay, so moving forward, as I said, it will be interesting to either see get it pushed back to this resistance and then look for some bearish signals around that to take my shot, or a break below this support right here, and then I take my shot at resistance. All right, depending on how this plays out eventually. Okay, depending on how this plays out eventually on the 15 minutes time frame, of course. Okay, interesting. We started from there. As I said, you probably joined it. Okay, um, let's see. Okay, so this is the conclusion for the dollar index. Hold on, I'm going to address that. So for me, for the dollar index, we of course measured this most recent trend right here. Okay, from this low here to this high. Okay, so where we measured the pullback level. Okay, so 50% and then the 61.8% fib level. That's what we did. Okay, so let me take this out. Right. So currently, price is a few pips away from the 50% fib level. So the conclusion is that if we continue to see bullish patterns from this level, then can expect USD index to continue to push to the upside. Okay, it's really close to the 50% Fibonacci retracement level, which is very significant, the 50, and then next we have 61.8. Okay, so right about now, for me, I'll be looking for some bullish patterns from this current level. Okay, if I get it, then I have confidence that this price is going to continue to push to the upside. All right. On the other hand, in the events that we get it closed below the 50% fib level, then I'll be looking towards the 61.8% level. If you get it closed below that, then this low would be one to watch as well. Okay. While it was pushing to the upside for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for about a week, it left behind some imbalances. I believe those imbalances are now covered, and then we have reasons to believe that it's going to push higher from the current level. Okay, but of course, we also need to trade what we see on the chart. All right. So that's why what happens here is quite significant. Okay, so it's one that I'll be watching very closely. Okay, somebody asked an interesting question for AUD USD. Frederick. Let me go back to it. Frederick says that what if price hits the resistance and pulls back? Yeah, that would be fantastic to see. Remember that the expectation here on AUD USD, this is the stimulus time frame. Okay, so we started from this high, right, which is close to our 0.71 significant resistance. So price pushed to this low right here, and then we got some pullback, and then it gave us a lower low. All right. So this structure in itself is typical of a downtrend. Okay, it's typical of a downtrend. So next, just like price moved from this high to this low, and then give us this pullback, we also see this new high, this low. So we're expecting a pullback around this area. Okay, expecting pullback around this area. So if that happens, it will be interesting to see. And then I'll be looking out for bearish patterns around that resistance so I can go in for a sell. On the other hand, price is currently below the 50-period moving average, which in itself signifies weakness. Okay, so if eventually we get a break below, we do not have any guarantees that price will pull all the way back to this previous low. No guarantees. Okay, so that's why again we trade what we see. All right. So eventually, if we get a break below the support, then that support automatically flips to resistance, and then I'll be looking to take myself at resistance. Okay. So two things. Number one, get a pullback all the way to this previous low. Wait for some bearish confirmations around that resistance, and then that would be my trigger to short. All right. Or it close below this support, all right, close below this support from the current level, and that would also be the trigger to short AUD USD. I hope you got that, Frederick. Euro AUD, Euro AUD. Euro AUD is also interesting. You remember, uh, when we started looking at this, price was still inside of this consolidation. And then I was highlighting the fact that the longer a consolidation phase lasts, the more aggressive the resulting breakout usually is, whether to the upside or to the downside. Okay. There was this one that happened on USD CAD. It lasted for about 2 years, consolidating between, I don't have that data right now. The consolidation lasted for about 2 years, and then the resulting breakout was really massive. Okay, this lasted for about 2 months, I believe, uh, June all the way to December, for about 6 months. Okay, for about 6 months, and then eventually we got that break below the support side, and then it's been pushing to the downside since that happened. All right. And of course, what this also means is that we'll be looking for sales on retracements. We're looking for sales on retracements. So let's see what that means on the 15 minutes time frame. Which is our preferred entry time frame. Okay. So on this 15 minutes time frame for Euro AUD, I'll be looking out for a break below support right here. Okay. You can replicate this on the chart. All right. You can replicate this on your chart. I'll be looking out for a close below this support on the 15 minutes time frame. All right. To short Euro AUD. Up next, we have USD CHF. We have USD CHF. For USD CHF, in the middle of this consolidation backend, I highlighted the fact that it would barely see where price closed below 0.792. Okay, we barely see that. If we continue to go back and back and back, we barely see where price closed below 0.792 until back in July of 2025, it closed below 0.792. We got it closed back below that, and price pushed all the way to 817. Here again, another close below 0.792 and all the way to the same level, back here again as well. But currently, it has now really dipped away from 0.792. All right. So what does that mean moving forward for USD CHF? Now remember, USD here is the base currency, and whatever happens to USD index from the current level, support level at like 6.6, it will impact what we see for USD CHF right here. So it got to this low, of course. I'm going to take this out. I'm sure almost done. Use that to draw the retracement level. Okay, so it got to this low, and then it created this high back here. So if we measure that, so we have a move from this low to this high, right? And then currently prices below 50% and 61.8% equivalent right here. Okay, so I'm going to take out the bid now. I just needed to get this level, which I had on my chart before. Okay. So currently below 61.8%, all right, fib level. Okay. So moving forward, if it stays below that, then it has potential to dip lower towards 0.760 right here. Okay, it stays below 0.768, which also is a 61.8% fib level. We just measured that. All right, it has the potential to continue to dip lower. All right, but on the other hand, should we get it close back above 0.7685, then maybe very much for some push to the upside. All right. Once you see what it means on the 10 minutes. Okay, so currently this is acting as resistance. This level here is acting as resistance on this 15-minute time frame. We see multiple touches, 1, 2, 3, and 4 right here. Okay, so on the 15-minute time frame, for us to have confirmation that this would continue to push higher, it will mean that we get a close above that trend line resistance. Okay, that will be the first signal. Okay, should we continue to expect a push to the upside, then the first confirmation will be a close above this trend line resistance on 15 minutes time frame. And then don't forget the area between 50 and 61.8. which is right here. Yeah. So what would further strengthen that would be if we now get a close above this entire area right here. Now, don't forget this represents 50% and 61.8% level. So what would further strengthen that bullish bias would be a close entirely above that area. But first, we need to see a close above this trend line resistance. All right. To see a close above that trend line resistance. And of course, we also have eyes on USD index from the current level and how that plays out moving forward. Okay, how that plays out moving forward. I'll still be able to touch on USD card as well. NZD USD, which was interesting. Okay, NZD USD for me. Why is that? Because we have a key level right here at 0.605. We have a key level right here at 0.605. In this pair, USD is the counter currency. Okay. Now back here, we broke above 0.605, and then we got a close back below it. This gave us a fake out. And fake outs like this, of course, you already know, the high probability trade setups, one of my favorite ways to trade. Okay. And then back here as well, we got a close above. We got a close above 0.605, and then this next candle, which is the bearish engulfing candle. All right, and then it pushed lower. Currently, price is back at 0.605. Okay, so moving forward, it will be interesting to get some bearish reversal patterns at 0.605, and then that will be our confirmations to start looking for sell. All right, now this is the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we are only interested in the key levels and important areas. So we can take that to 15 minutes to see a much more precise entry opportunity. On the 15 minutes time frame, it is below the 50 period moving average right here. All right, which, as I've mentioned before, in itself is a bearish, signifies weakness. It signifies weakness. So we see this high, push to this low. We got this pullback, give us a lower low. This pullback again. So next up, it would be ideal to also expect a much lower low as well. Okay. But what we now need to see. Okay. So this moving average also acts as magnet for price. So what this means is that price is now at resistance, all right, indicated with this 50 period moving average. So it will be interesting to get some bearish confirmations from this moving average so that that can be our trigger to take shots for NZD USD. And for NZD USD, what will further strengthen that also will now be if we get a break below this support right here. Okay, below the support right here. What would also validate this would be if what we see is a close above the 50 period moving average, then we will be looking at a push all the way back to 0.605. Okay, so two things for me here, or three things as the case may be. Number one, I get bearish patterns from this moving average. For instance, I see a bearish engulfing candle next to this, then that will be my trigger to short NZD USD. Or number two, a break below this support right here at 0.603. That's number two. And number three, a break above the 50 period moving average, and then I'll be looking towards this resistance back at 0.605. Okay. those are the things that I have eyes on as far as this asset is concerned. As far as this asset is concerned, okay. Uh, this I believe would be a fine place to leave it for today. All right. It's been great talking to us for the past hour. Thank you very much for taking the time out to join us on today's edition on the of the morning market review. All right. Endura. So I'm just saying your request right here. Of course, the Switzerland franc is considered a safe haven currency as well. As well, this simply means that it strengthens during economic uncertainty, right? Or when we have uncertainty, yeah. So because it's considered a safe haven currency, it means that when we have an economic uncertainty, uh, investors would rather put their money there. All right. So that's why it's saying like it's always bullish. All right. It's always bullish for Swiss franc. It is considered a safe haven. All right. So safe haven currency. Okay. Because of our time, I won't be able to go deeper into that because of other programs. Okay. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Shane. So God bless you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for taking the time out to join us on today's edition of the Morning Market Review. This is where we draw the curtain for today. And here is me wishing us a great trading day. All right. Do have a great trading day ahead and bye from now. Thank you, Endurance.